Welcome to my channel. In this video we will talk about the project structure of Blazor WebAssembly application. We'll go through the project layout and try to understand how the files are organized in the project. Okay, and we will also go through the code of few important files so that it will help us to build better understanding of the WebAssembly project. Okay, and for this we are going to build this project in Visual Studio 2019 using the default template which comes with the framework. Okay, so let's get into Visual Studio and create the project. So first we are going here, we are going to click on this create new project, and from the template list we are going to select Blazor app. We click on next. Here we are going to give a name to this project, Blazor. Okay, and we'll click on create. And from this template list we are going to select a Blazor WebAssembly app, and we'll click on create, keeping everything as it is. Okay, now the project is created and loaded. So what we are going to do is we are going to study each and every node over here and try to understand what this file organization try to represent. Okay, so here in this solution explorer, the first one is connected services. So if you want to add any external service, like for example if you want to use any Azure service, then this is the place where you go and add the service reference to. Okay, so second in the node is the dependencies node. Now if you expand this, where we can see that three different nodes within it. The first one is the analyzer. Now if we expand this, we can see there is a package called Microsoft ASP.NET Core Component Analyzer. Now this package is used to perform various code analysis on the project. So like for example here we can see one of the rule is like component parameter should be public. Now if you don't put component parameter as public, so it will flash a warning, and we can make those changes and adhere to all the code standards. Okay, now second is the framework node. Now this node contains a reference to .NET standard library. Now this is the basic libraries which is required in order to execute this Blazor application. Okay, now third is the packages. Now here we can see there are 4 different packages currently referred by this default template. 3 of them are related to the WebAssembly, and the 4th one is systemnet HTTP JSON, which is used to serialize and deserialize JSON files. So if you want to add any new packages, this is the place you go and add it. Okay, now next one is the properties node. Now if we expand this, we can see there is a file called launch settings.json. Now as its name suggests, it contains all the configuration which is required in order to execute in order to launch the application. Like here we can see that we are having like configuration like application URL, SSL port number, and the development environment configuration and all. Okay, so if you want to make any changes as per your need in order to launch the application, so this is the place where you go and do it. Okay, the next one is the root folder. So this www root folder, here we are having 2 different folders. First one is the CSS folder. So as its name suggests, it contains all the CSS file, static file over here, and there is another important file called app.css. So this is the place where you define all your custom CSS. Okay, so next is the sample data folder. Now this folder contains a weather.json file. Now these values are used to display on the user interface, just so that the application have something to display as a default values. Okay, now another important file within this www root folder is the index.html. Now as the name suggests, this is the first file which is served to the browser. Okay, and this file, it contains a reference to framework blazor.webassembly.js JavaScript file. Now this is one of the most important JavaScript file in Blazor WebAssembly project, because this is this is the file which is responsible for downloading the complete package into the browser, as well as it initiates the process so that the application can be executed. Okay, so the next one is the pages folder. Now as the name suggests, it contains all the UI elements which is required by the project. So currently there are 3 different Razor component which comes by default. First one is counter, fetch data, and index.razor. Now if you want to add any of your Razor components, you can do it here. Okay, so next in the list is this shared folder. As the name suggests, it contains all the Razor component which is shareable across all the project. Now the first file here is the main layout component. Now this component is common across all the application. As we can see, the navigation menu component is also referred here, which is on the side, which is represented on the sidebar of the user interface. And second is that it contains the body tag, in which the other components are displayed. Okay, now the next one is the navigation menu, that is nav menu component. Now this is the place where you add all your navigation links so that it can be displayed on the user interface. Okay, now this one is survey prompt Razor. I mean, this is just a server which Microsoft has added. Okay, now another file is called _imports.razor. Now this is the place where you add all your import using statements. Okay, now whenever you add anything here, it becomes accessible throughout the project. Okay, the next is the app.razor. Now this is the initial file or initial components which have all the routing details. So it basically finds gets the request, it finds the respected component. If it does not find, then it simply displays that sorry, there is nothing at this address. Okay, so last but not the least is the program.cs file. Now as the name suggests, this is the initial point for the application, and it is a place where we configure our root component. Here we can see that app, this component. Okay, now this component is configured here. So if you want to change and make a custom one for yourself, you do it here, as well as you can add any services you want to use in your application. You can register to this dependency injection over here. Okay, so this is the description of project layout of Blazor WebAssembly application. I hope you get an idea over it, and this video is helpful to you. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.